The bright forest. Humanity has always longed for the stars, from simple cave dwellers who looked at the luminous disk of the Milky Way in awe, to the first astronauts soaring beyond the safe embrace of Earth's atmosphere. They always held a profound meaning. It was no different at the dawn of interstellar travel, when humanity's lasting desire to see those other shining spheres up close, far away from the warmth of Sol, was finally realized. These pioneers discovered many great and wondrous things on those distant worlds. Some were similar to Earth and provided new colonies for the fledgling domain of humanity. Others were utterly alien, yet no less astonishing. Resources and new materials, adventure and enterprise were all in abundance. But one thing was missing. Neighbors. From the early radio signals and the Voyager probes to quantum communication and the fully automated picket system, the search for companionship never ceased. Thousands of foreign planets were surveyed, a lot of them settled, but outside of simple vegetation and animals, no alien life was found. Nobody to hold a conversation with. The silence was deafening, and the scientific consensus came to the disheartening conclusion that humanity was alone. Its evolution, or creation for the more religious types, was a one-of-a-kind event in the universe. Soon after the experts reached this conclusion, alien ruins were found. Archaeologists, engineers, and the like descended on those ancient remnants like vultures, ravenous to uncover their secrets. The jubilation was tempered by the revelation that this foreign culture did not go out in its sleep. As a culmination of a long decline, it met a violent end. The marks of heavy weaponry scarred the face of the arid world from pole to pole. Curiously, it seemed the aliens did not fight back against their attackers. They laid down and accepted their fate without struggle. Or were there no invaders? Have they decided to end it all themselves? This finding sparked a new rush of exploration. Manned and remote-controlled vessels reached for ever-distant stars, and they uncovered many more ruins. Evidence of ancient civilizations that once inhabited them lingered, but no surviving sapient life forms were discovered. Strangely enough, the older these structures were, the more desperately their long-gone owners tried to defend them, with the most antique of these sites being reduced to nothing more than cataclysmic battlefields. Dark suspicions arose, but the mystery remained. Had an ancient galactic civilization destroyed itself in the frenzy of war, something humanity was intimately familiar with, or was something cruel and violent stalking out in the dark? The search continued despite calls for caution. The treasures scavenged. Technologies salvaged from these derelicts were far too valuable. During the excavation of a half-destroyed megastructure, a device was accidentally activated. The next day, humanity received the much-awaited first message from the long-sought neighbors. Hide. There was somebody out there. Well, no. There were at least two types of somebodies out there. It cannot be said that humanity lived in an era of undisturbed peace. Piracy, small-scale skirmishes between planets, and similar sorts of internecine squabbles were a regular part of life, but no one was ready for a war of interstellar proportions. Exploratory missions were halted, navies and militaries bolstered, and there was an eerie disquiet, as if an entire species held its collective breath. Nobody seemed to understand that hide did not mean make ready. They came. Massive ships struck the newly founded colonies on the outer reaches, and from them, savage, monstrous aliens poured out, seeking nothing but destruction. Diplomacy was attempted, but the only answer was mocking cackle. The aliens spoke the language of war alone. The first battles ended in complete disaster for the defenders. Their enemies were far more advanced. Their technologies, anyway. The wanton horrors they unleashed on their path of rampage revealed them to be nothing more than locusts. Even worse, for the insects only sought to satiate their hunger. Humanity was young, fierce, and far more adaptable than their foes, and the aliens were surprised they even had to wage a proper war, their insolent prey refusing to lie down on the ground like their predecessors. Still, worlds burned, fleets were ravaged, and desperation pervaded the hearts of the newest victims of those who haunted the stars. Humanity braced for total war under this brand new evolutionary pressure. their best minds searching for ways to overcome the odds. Vicious and destructive weapons were created and thrown at the cosmic locusts in vain, until in an obscure, unremarkable system, a small victory was achieved. The setback didn't make a dent in the overall might of the ravaging aliens. The human admirals knew their fortunes weren't reversed. Victory, even the hope of survival, remained but a fever dream. However, propaganda milked the unexpected triumph for all its worth. Reports and videos sang about the heroes of that ultimately inconsequential battle. The message that the enemy can be defeated flew to all the distant stars that could be reached through radio waves or quantum comms. The locusts were shocked by their defeat, and it drove them into a frenzy. They lunged at the linchpin of human defenses, hungry for blood and intent on finally breaking the spirit of their prey. The humans received them in that fortress system, fighting for all their worth, their new weapons giving ever nastier surprises to the invaders. Experimental tactics and half-mad inventions were deployed. Nothing was too outlandish to try and turn the tide. The locusts, on the other hand, countless millennia of undisputed battlefield mastery, led them down a path of hubris and stagnation. Their evolutionary journey was a downward spiral ever since their victims gave up hope and stopped fighting back. And now their ossified structures prevented them from adapting to the changing circumstances. They were certain that it did not matter. Desperate tricks would not stop their ancient might and superior forces, and the upstart apes would end up just like the rest. A footnote in history, they thought, assured their zero-sum philosophy would triumph again. The long and bloody drama of the human fortress was nearing its end. Valor and wit had to bow before the aliens' insurmountable might. Their grisly ships were besieging the last line of defense when something unfathomable happened. Sleek silver vessels arrived at the far edge of the system. Crude blue ones followed them, then a few iridescent greens, then differently shaped silvers, and many others. The united fleets struck the locusts with millennia of unbridled fury, some seeking vengeance for their lost kin and home, others raging against the darkness that forced them to hide in terror for so long. Humanity, the scrubby new kid on the street, dared to hit back at the dreadful bully, drew his blood, and the facade of invincibility shattered, prompting the others to join in on the fun, ganging up on their oppressor. The siege was broken. The locusts fled reeling. But it was just the second victory in a long campaign of liberation and retribution. The many races that came out of hiding to finally bask in the light tentatively reached out to one another. There was a star map at the Navy HQ. A vast chart outlining communications between systems. A few hundred tiny bulbs burned on the black wall, designating all known inhabited worlds. Suddenly, a new shine joined the others. A new connection was established. Then another, and another. Hundreds, thousands more flared up, until the officer hugging his fourth coffee of the night had to cover his eyes as he slipped past the door, the brilliance behind him shattering the darkness.